So guys, getting ready to go out for session 4. Didn't record the first couple sessions. It was so cold this morning. Track was pretty loose and slippery. Was trying out a couple different tire setups. Brought another set and now have the sticky tires back on. Unfortunately, I'm only doing a 125 and took a quick look back at the Camaro top times. Somebody's doing a 122, so I am 3 seconds off the pace, and with as cold as it is today, I think I'm going to be using that as my excuse for the slower time. It's 50, it's low 50s out and is just really slippery. Once the tires get some heat in them, they're fine, but it just doesn't leave a lot of confidence on the table. So gonna be using that as my excuse, and we're heading out. So we'll take the first lap or so, kind of chill, get a little heated in the tires, and I can kind of talk you through some of my favorite spots or not on the track. This is the hill after the first turn, and it's kind of blind coming up. This corner here is the corner that I had a little accident with my very first motorcycle in. I low-sided it just barely going into that corner, and wasn't anything bad. Scratched some plastics up and put some new plastics. It was completely fine, but I always think about that as I'm going through that corner. Coming around here, I always have issues hitting my marks on this section of the course, but come around here, we are coming up on one of my favorite areas of the track. It is a fast area that you can kind of fly through, and there's some curbing you get to jump off of, a little cone you're watching for, and I don't know, just a fun area of the track. And getting ready to come back onto the main straightaway, and we'll turn the power on a little bit more now that we've got a little heat in the tires. Mark our finish line, and let's roll. Tires are still a little cold and slippy. When I'm on track, I normally will leave the performance traction management in race mode. Just when I'm at autocross, I leave everything off, but on the track, I just want a little bit of something to catch me just in case I'm dumb, because I truly am not an experienced driver. The car just helps me look like I've got skill. Again, here's that favorite spot of the track. Inside curbing, jump back to the outside, bang downshift into second, and then roll back on the throttle once you straighten up, and back on power. I always tend to drive too deep into this corner, and I'm late on the brakes and driving too hard into it, and Out at Heartland Park, I'm able to use the no-lift shift feature a lot more. Out here, I just don't feel that there's a place I can use it. And the fact I don't like using no-lift shift from second to third just because it's not a straight shot into the gear. I just don't feel confident enough throwing it into third gear with a no-lift shift. So I normally at Heartland only use no-lift shift from third to fourth, and you are never in fourth gear, at least I'm not out here at Hallett. Got my buddy Jesse up in the stands watching today. He took a ride with me on the second session that was very cold and slippery. I do run the auto rev match. Just takes one less thing that you've got to think of off the table. That was the top of third gear on the rev limiter. And I probably could drive deeper into this corner, but it's a track day, it's not a race. There's no point in putting you and the car in harm's way. And I always butcher this corner. I don't late apex like I should. That was a little bit less horrible. Cold weather does make that supercharger happy though. Today I am running 93 ethanol free Sunoco fuel. What they've got here, they do have 98, but it's ethanol, and I just did not feel like paying the price of admission on a cold day for that higher octane fuel. But the Camaro does love the 100 octane fuel that I use at Heartland Park. My good family friend Jeff Norris told me that on the start of that straightaway, if you're not hitting the dip on the outside of the track, you are not in the racing line. So I always kind of think of that as I'm bouncing through that dip. Let's roll. smooth on power here, not get the tail out, roll on, go. Hit that apex, and then we'll jump out to the outside of the track, hit the dip right there. And we're going to kill this lap with a little lap traffic. We're going to come up on a passing zone here once we get straightened up, so we need to tighten up. And there we're pointed by and we're going. Third gear wasn't to be found, and that's why I do not no lift shift from second to third, because stuff like that will happen. Bring it in tight. a wrap. Felt like I went quicker on that session. Swapped onto some fresher Bridgestones in the front versus the tired Bridgestones I was running the last session, where I ran a 125. So I think I should have picked up a little time. But that last session, midway through the session, noticed my steering wheel was a little cocked off to the side. I had kind of jumped off a curb kind of hard, landed on the inside edge of the track surface, and it wasn't a massive jolt, but it was a little more jarring than normal jumping off curbs. And like I said, noticed steering wheel was a little off. Jesse and I looked over the car. The left front wheel looks like it has a teeny bit less camber. Again, it's hard to tell. I'm parked in the grass. It doesn't look very level anyways, but kind of looks like it has less camber. So, gonna have to throw it on the alignment rack and see, but right now it's pulling just ever so slightly. So maybe we just bang the toe out a little bit, and you know, need to adjust that, but something's a little off. So if I went slow again, I'm going to blame cold weather, 1, and 2, I'm claiming alignments off. That's why, you know, I'm a hero driver. I would have driven great if it would have been perfect. So that's my excuse. We're going to go back, look at the data recorder, and see how bad I did.